Joining us all the way from Beijing is Fang. Fang currently works as the Assistant President for the China-Beijing Environment Exchange, an organization that aims to build an influential environmental equity exchange center for multilateral corporations. Fang is currently working with the U.S.-China Green Fund to set up a specialized fund for low-carbon investment in China. She aspires to build a green financial platform, seeing as China taking a leadership role in low-carbon initiatives. Please come to the podium, Fang.
Ladies and gentlemen, actually, this is my first time to give a speech in English. Okay. I'd like to talk to you today is about dreams and actions. I am family from China, which is one of the world's biggest and oldest civilization, and recently the most populous nation with 1.38 billion people. The economic and the environmental changes that have happened in China in the past 30 years are so remarkable that every Chinese citizen has been affected by these two trends. China has become the world's biggest economy, the second biggest economy, and also the world's biggest polluter. In the early 1980s, when I was a little child, the annual salary for my dad was $100. When we have no car, no electrical equipment. 30 years later, our personal income has increased more than 100 times. We are equipped with advanced electrical devices at home. However, the sacrifices are also striking. The streets are overcrowded by millions of cars. The toxic emission concentrations are 16 times the recommended upper limit by the World Health Organization. The mortality rate of lung cancer has increased 4 times in the same time period. In my professional life, I had been creating policies to address the pollution problems for 8 years. But when I was sick in hospital 2 years ago, I started to think of doing something more actionable by making something really happen. I wondered if there was a more direct mechanism to motivate individuals to act differently and sustainably to make the environment better. With this idea, my team members from China-Beijing Environment Exchange developed a mobile app called Ant Forest that incents every citizen to make and document choices which are both better for the environment. By walking, taking a bicycle, or ordering things online instead of going to the store, people spend less time in cars. Users of the app record these positive actions and earn carbon credits in their account. When they reach a certain threshold of credits, users sell their credits in exchange for a tree that is planted in arid areas of northern China. Within 2 years, we have created carbon accounts for 200 million people, planted more than 1 million trees in Alashan Ridge of northern China, and reduced carbon emission by 1.2 million tons. Thank you. So what I want to share with you about my story here today is the importance of dreams and action. I have faced many challenges along the way. However, I had the inspiration to dream and have the determination to make it happen. I think that's what make me persist to succeed finally, and what make me really proud by making something actionable. Thank you, Chancellor Carol Chris, for supporting this wonderful program. Thank you, Dean David Arkley, for providing the leadership in this new chapter of the program. It shows such foresight for UC Berkeley, Mr. and Mrs. Beahrs, Professor Zilberman, and all the donors to start the program 18 years ago. Beahrs ELP supplies the opportunity for a new generation of leaders to share their ideas, connect with each other, and make us more understanding. It's so appreciate that the valuable work is not just serving us, but also the whole world. Thank you all, thank you.
Thank you, Fang. Our next speaker, Peta-Gaye Rookwood, hails from Jamaica and currently works as a legal officer for the National Environment and Planning Agency, an organization that supports the continued development of planning policy and legislative framework for the environment. Peta-Gaye is responsible for conducting legal research, preparing legal opinions, and drafting policy papers to guide the revision of legislation and regulations. She aspires to use the law to protect the important ecological sites. Please come to the podium, Peta-Gaye.
The promised increase in jobs, improved infrastructure, increased spending in local communities. Seems ideal, right? Certainly, for a small island developing state like Jamaica, the answer is yes. Tourism is the lifeblood of our economy. Sun, sand, and sea is the dream that we sell. One love is our cry. Come to Jamaica and feel all right is what we say. After all, who wouldn't want to be in the island that birthed Usain Bolt and Bob Marley? Who would give up the opportunity to relax on white sandy beaches in the Grill or Montego Bay while sampling jerk chicken or listening to reggae music? Yet, let us look at the other side of the coin. Increased pollution, natural habitat loss, destruction of corals and mangroves, as well as increased pressure on endangered species. These are just a few of the ways in which our environment has been suffering. The very environment that we depend on for economic success is on the decline. Good afternoon. It is a distinct honor and pleasure to address this esteemed gathering, which has a tradition of excellent speakers and is especially meaningful for its focus on environmental leadership. My name is Peta-Gaye Rookwood, and I am an environmental lawyer. Yet, my journey into conservation management did not start in the courtroom. No, it started as a tourism student studying at the University of the West Indies. I traveled to Beeston Spring Community, a small but charming community in the parish of Westmoreland, where I became a tourist in my own country. I visited heritage sites, was entertained by the mighty Beeston's Mentor Band, enjoyed a tour of the community while sampling popular Jamaican desserts. While listening to the Mentor Band, it suddenly hit me. The way that we practice tourism was not the most sustainable. There existed before me a world of possibilities, a world involving low impact and small scale alternatives, a world where our environment is protected, our natural heritage is conserved, and there is an improvement in the quality of life of our local communities. A world which struck the right balance between economic development and conservation. That was the world I wanted to be a part of. As a lawyer, it has not been an easy journey into that world. You may ask yourself, how does a lawyer fit into the field of natural resource management? What do we really know about the environment? After all, our true home is in the court, not in the fields. We're not scientists and we're definitely not ecologists. But what we have in common, what brings us together, is far more important than our job titles. We are decision makers. In my career path, I have seen where sometimes the choices are not as clear-cut as I would like them to be. Over 20 years has passed since the Rio Summit. Very few of the challenges identified in 1992 have been adequately managed, and new ones have gained urgency. It should cause us all to wonder, how much better off are we in terms of making decisions? Are we asking the right questions? Do we have the right tools? Is there ever a space in which economic goals and conservation will meet? I believe there is, but only if we use the right tools. For me, one of the most powerful tools that I have been using is the environmental impact assessment. Currently, I am in the process of updating regulations that deal with impact assessments. In doing so, I'm committed to ensuring that I add value to the decision-making process and provide credible answers to relevant questions. More importantly, I will ensure that environmental issues are addressed in a holistic way, from raising awareness of our changing environmental state to discussing potential scaling. Even lawyers have a pathway to this pathway of sustainability. You see, my friends, our problems are not that different. I could easily hop across to my Caribbean neighbor Haiti, where Chantel is dealing with issues of waste management. Or even a little further to Ghana, where Keane is currently looking at best practices for the restoration of mangroves. Or maybe, just maybe, I could journey for over 14 hours to Kenya, where Lillian has been considering issues of equity in water management. And what I've learned from them all is that we are environmental leaders in our fields. We have an undeniable dedication to our work that will benefit people for years to come. As such, it is important that we help in making decisions. Not just decisions, but informed decisions. And Berkeley has been giving us the right tools to make these decisions. From environmental economics to impact assessments, from collaborative leadership to storytelling, we are capable of facing the challenges that arise, both globally and locally. Because at the end of the day, we are environmental leaders. We have a future to deal with. We have a responsibility to deal with. And it is a responsibility that we must take seriously. After all, the future of our planet depends on the decisions that we make today. Thank you.